Okay, part 2. Get the bioresonance up and running. It's misbehaving.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because I've got so much protection against 5G. It's going, I can't connect. Okay, so throat, pylori, bridles. Okay, so what's the amygdala saying about that little combination? Wanting to run away. Okay, so let's check your meridians and see. Okay, so small intestine energy. Right, so there's sadness locked in, that things just, because once again with our throat chakra and our voice, it's easy to be sad when we can't have the same conversations. Yeah, making us nervous, so nervousness. Hurting, okay. So they're all really things, from that cellular level, when you can't speak your truth, you're not feeling nourished in a relationship. So even though I know that's been one of those real tricky things over the last few years, because everyone has been, there's been so much information out there, and then people get a belief system, and regardless, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not, once we have a belief system, if our ego's involved in that belief system, then we feel hurt if someone doesn't believe it, hurt or angry or frustrated.
There's still people out there talking about, if you're not jabbed, you're unclean, or,
Oh, yeah. I saw a video yesterday. There was, I might insult someone here, so I'm sorry if this is you, but it was a bunch of people who were having screaming rants on TikTok about people who haven't had all their, actually they weren't even talking about the jabs, they were talking about the boosters, and it was sort of amusing because they were all coming from a place where obviously they're terrified. They're terrified and they're scared after 3 years, and these were all young, healthy looking people. So that even strikes me even more bizarre. That there's people out there who are terrified. Like, do people really know nothing about their own immune system at this point? So a study I think the Lancet, just last week, finally has admitted that natural immunity is better than the jabs. Like the Lancet, and I would have respected it 3 years ago, except there's been so many shenanigans in it the last few years. But natural immunity has always, like even thinking about the Spanish flu, Dr. Fauci, my favourite human being on the planet, he actually released information about, 10, 15 years ago, he's like 1 million years old, but 10, 15 years ago saying that they did biopsies on people, not biopsies, blood tests on people who were still alive, who had been through the Spanish flu, and they still had immunity, and these were really, really old people, and they still had natural, innate immunity.
Really?
Yes, so immunity lasts. This whole BS of every 3, 4, 6 months or whatever, it's like, that's not the way the body works.
A lot of these drugs seem to knock your immune system anyway.
Yeah, so many antidepressants and stuff. There was a study where they actually found that if we're depressed, our immune system is depressed. Because if we're going, why would I bother? Why would I get out of bed? Why would I go to work? Then our immune system's going, why would I keep you alive? Awkward, but but it seems to depress
it just doesn't want to do like.
Why would it bother if you don't want to be here? Then the longer we're on these drugs,
it's like parents that don't care about their kids. Well, kids say, "Well, she don't care about me." Well, I don't care about her. Sort of. It's the same. It's it's the same sort of thing.
They were pretty funny though, these rants. I shouldn't have laughed, but Okay. So the heart chakra is next. So the throat's now okay. Now the heart chakra connects to the sternum and then to a little spot up in here. And once again, think about fun. Isn't it much harder to have fun when you're watching every word you say?
Yeah, that's right.
And it's harder just to communicate and connect and...
Yeah.
Because I swear the governments around the world do not want us loving one another. You know, it feels to me like there's a fairly big plan going on to make people hate each other. It's doing the circle of death. I'll restart it again, shall I?
She doesn't know anything about fun anyway, so that's probably right.
It's going, fun, fun, fun. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis?
Well, I'm just trying to think of what sort of fun we had as kids. Going to the park on a Sunday afternoon would most probably be fun.
Yep.
That's pretty boring now.
Nothing wrong with it when you're a kid.
Yeah. But then what happens 6 other days of the week?
Yeah. Yeah, there's
You know?
And the thing is, the brain can maintain equilibrium as long as we've got about 7 times as many positives as a negative. So if your week is stressful,
Yeah.
because of, say, trauma in the home,
Yeah.
and then you get one fun thing, and I know you had a great relationship with your mum and stuff, but just say, and then you have one fun thing on the Sunday, if there was only one negative, say Monday to Saturday, then that could be enough to maintain equilibrium.
Okay.
But when it's out of balance, our body gets into these survival patterns and it finds it really hard to shift.
Because like we didn't have kids over after school or anything like that. Yeah. It was just family.
This is liver energy, so because your heart is struggling just being out there loving and caring and connecting with people, there's actually a build-up of resentment in your little liver. Are you aware of that?
Not really. But then I don't ask people to do things for me or anything like that. I'll do everything myself and yeah. I'm sort of starting to think at the moment I should just one day just ring somebody up and say, hey, how about we go for lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that being a plan one year.
Yes. Well,
And I think you actually started doing it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did for a little while, and then I
Was
thought
that before COVID, maybe?
might have been, and then I felt like
Well, we were
because
we were in seclusion for 4 months last year.
That's right, but then when I started doing it, nobody was doing it back, and I thought, well, what am I annoying everybody?
Yeah,
That was virtually what I thought, and I think that might have been what stopped it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't
But
know.
on the other hand, I know I'm busy. This guy today, he put it out there that we have lunch. I had 1 2-hour slot where I could fit it in. So I literally, if he had have asked for any other time, I couldn't have made it happen.
Yeah.
So some people are just busy.
Yeah, and that's the universe, isn't it?
And also, some people are depressed. They don't think about having fun. They don't think about getting out there because they're hiding away. They're in escape, submission, freeze.
Yeah, okay. Like I wouldn't call myself depressed or anything.
No, I wasn't talking about you, but
but-
I'm sort of thinking people who aren't ringing, it's not necessarily about you.
Yeah.
There's still something else in the liver. I think there's some other emotion in there. Let's go have a look. Right. Okay. Yeah. So you take on the responsibility of not only keeping yourself switched on, but you want to take responsibility subconsciously of being the best for everyone else as well.
Yes.
It's like that, too much responsibility. It's all my responsibility.
Yeah.
One of my little examples is years and years and years ago when Gabby was working for me. I've got no idea what happened to her. She must have fallen off the face of the earth. I say that lovingly. I hope she hasn't.
Yeah.
But anyway, one day before I was about to catch a plane, and we had a big fight. I was literally late to get to the airport because we were fighting in the kitchen at the clinic down in Wynnum. And it was because, in fact, I don't even know how it all started. It was just odd. But it turned out that as a receptionist, she was taking on the same role as me as the owner. Her care factor. And she wasn't doing it deliberately. It's just her personality.
Yeah, yeah.
And I ended up saying to her somewhere in amongst this fight, I said, Gabby, that's not your responsibility. I said, that's my responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't need to worry about that. And it was like a big aha moment for her because she'd been taking on it all.
Yeah.
And yeah, she wanted the clinic to work and she wanted us to thrive, and but it was not her responsibility.
Yeah.
By any stretch.
So it was only one employee, really, wasn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And if I could have afforded it, I would have made her, you know, paid her as office manager or something like that, but they were run on bare bones.
That's the trouble. You got to do what you can do at the time.
Yeah. So maybe because you sort of even worked as a, I mean, I know you're married, but within that, you were sort of acting like a sole mum a lot of the time, you know, doing all the stuff for the kids and everything. That's also exhausting.
Yeah.
So where's the space for the kids, especially once they get older?
Yeah.
It's really all about them, and then it's like, what am I doing for fun?
Yeah.
Like, I can see why people get addicted to alcohol or drugs or gambling and things. I can see it. You know, we sort of, and once again, the last few years, like how many small businesses have disappeared because they just couldn't keep things up and running because you weren't allowed human beings in there.
Yeah. I think one of my problems is I don't reach out to people. Well, yeah, I should.
Something else in there as well. So the solar plexus chakra, so I've done the first round. So it connects with the occiput. Nope, it doesn't. Maxilla and the xiphoid. Okay, so put your tongue on the roof of the mouth. That accesses the maxilla, and this is the xiphoid. So hold that. Okay, and relax. And hold.
Yeah.
And hold. Yeah, no, yeah, right. So solar plexus, it is about your core sense of self. So when we're busy being everything for everyone else, we're not building up that core sense of self. So I know you've got the stuff, you know, I am a doer, I am a worker, I am a good friend, I am a great mum, I am a great nana. You know, you've got all the things that you're awesome at, but there's something that your brain is in the background. Like, I am a fun person. I am a fun person. We're meant to have fun here on the planet. Yeah, and it shuts down when other people are domineering, when we're feeling submissive, when we are losing, or when we don't know what our beliefs. Sometimes we don't know what our beliefs are because we're simply doing what we've always done.
That is so true.
You know, so unless we actually start sitting down and working out what our beliefs are. I remember Mum took me, when I was like 15, I was a horrible kid, so she took me to oh man, I was a mess there for a few years. And she took me to this meditation thing. I actually had quite a good day, but one of the things was that we had to list our belief, and teacher was just wandering around talking about stuff to us. And, I don't think I had a single positive belief. I was able to write down lots of negative ones.
Okay.
And also, we had to write down what we thought about ourselves or our body or something. And once again, Mum just looked at my big list. And she said, what do you mean you don't like any of those parts of yourself? Like, Mum had all the things that she loved about herself, whereas I had all the things I hated about myself. The teacher didn't say one way or the other which way to make it. So it was interesting what came out. Of course, I was 15, so... But yeah, really interesting. That's why I sort of like David's, his, the role play yourself process he's got.
I'm just thinking of myself at 15. That's when I left school.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't anything fun about me then, so.
You had fun with the girls when you went on your cruises.
Oh, yeah. But see, that was something that I made happen.
Oh, hello.
It's the door shut.
Yeah. Yeah, right, you made it happen.
That was something that I had been single, and I thought, well, I've got to do something. I've got to make some friends if I want to go on holidays. So then there was this cruise overseas, and I thought, well, why don't I just put my name down and see if anyone else, you can share with. And I said I wanted someone in the 60s, and we're all in the 60s, so yeah.
Oh, is that how you found those girls?
Yeah.
Huh.
And the only one I've got left is Joy.
Yeah, right.
There was 2 Joys in Sandra, and that,
My Joy's gone too.
The Joy that I seem to be sharing with all the time, she's an alcoholic. She was drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, but it's the other Joy that I've still got.
Yeah, right.
We had a fair few cruises together though.
I was just thinking that. Okay, so in relation to the 8th chakra, so that's the one on the bottom of your feet, it's about grounding yourself into the planet. There is also a reticular activating system circuit around that, so your brain is deliberately making it consciously stressful being here on the planet. So we need to calm that down.
Okay, fair enough. I want to stay.
Yeah. Oh, you're not going anywhere. Yeah, right, so acetylcholine. So that's like the triple shot of coffee.
Oh yes, I like that.
Yeah, the triple shot creating that vigilance in your nervous system, but that makes it the harder thing. Like all it is a text message or a quick phone call.
Yeah.
And if people can't, they can't.
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
No, this might sound strange, but I seem to be a person that can try to help people that are sad.
Yeah, right, because you empathise. Because they're the main emotions that showed up in the small intestine energy where we make most of our serotonin. But instead of making serotonin, your body was still holding old patterns of sadness, and
I will go out of my way to help somebody who is sad.
do you feel better afterwards?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you're nourishing yourself by doing that. There is a Facebook group, don't know what it's called, but it's friends of mine, Jenny and Jeanette, and I did an Enneagram course with them about 25, 30 years ago. Actually, Lee did it with me, and it was like weekly for, I don't know, 10 weeks or something. And each week you learnt about a different personality type. Now, I would bet you would be, you've got to be a 3. So the 3 is no, not a 3, a 2. The 2s are the carers and givers, and they will go out of their way to be a 2 because it's their core sense of self. But then when 2s are feeling traumatized, they go to another personality, and when they're feeling happy, they go to another personality.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, it's pretty cool. I love the Enneagram. Yeah, out of all the personality profiling types, I like it the best. Probably because I know it the best.
Yeah.
I like what I know.
It's quite funny, like, they're sad, but you try to help them, but then they don't want to help themselves either. So then you just try something else and, you know, just bring something else into it and stuff like that. I've got one friend who was really, really sad, and you know, she's pretty good now.
Yeah,
I
right.
get on good, so.
Nice.
There's another one I'm working on at the moment. That one is negativity.
Yeah. And that's hard work.
Oh yeah. When it gets too hard, I just don't ring her or don't do anything. I think, oh no, I can't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
But in saying that, well, I am looking after me to a
Totally.
degree because I know when enough's enough.
Yeah. Maybe I finally have it.
It's made me happy, has it? It's found happiness for me.
It has. Okay, chat away for 15 seconds.
Monica, I'm looking forward to celebrations at the end of the year. Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about it today as I've been going around. Yeah, and everything's coming on. Amanda's working with me.
Yeah. And how's your beautiful grandson?
Yes, good.
And the other ones? The other? Haven't seen the others for a little while?
Been thinking of them today though.
Yeah, right. Can you see Troy in them?
Belle is made to a T.
Yeah, right.
It is so amazing, even in looks. Yeah, yeah. As
Interesting.
babies, God, they look the same. And yet, yeah, from one side to the other, like I was always like my mum's sister. So, yeah. Because mum said I sound like her and everything, so.
There's a couple of dudes I listen to on Facebook because they're funny,
Mm.
but they're twins
Yeah.
and they sound identical.
Yeah.
So when you're not watching them, I just can't tell which one's which, and
Yeah.
they've got this really big, deep, big voice,
Yeah.
and I just find them bloody amusing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've got your chakras all balanced. Yeah, right. So that was a little bit. So with each chakra being out of whack, and then we'll see whether it bounced back with this as well. To see bioresonance helps with your chakras as well. But as it shifts energy through the body, as it's checking at 6,000 bloods,
Yeah.
energy can be moving everywhere. So
Okay.
you might be dealing with some candida in the gut, and next thing your stomach chakra will blow.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it's moving energy. You
Yeah.
know, bioresonance moves energy.
Yeah.
Gets the body recognizing things.
into meditation last night.
Oh, nice.
Haven't been.
I was going to say, is
Much
that the
this
first
year,
time for a
yeah.
while?
Oh, yeah, I think it's the first time this year.
Nice.
They only have it every fortnight now.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because I went to the breakup one and yeah, I knew that since. So we haven't seen you for a while.
Teddy slept 11 hours on Monday night.
Wow.
He was asleep by the time he got here.
Yeah.
And at 4:40 in the morning, he woke me up.
Oh, wow. School must have been too much for him, yeah?
Oh, man. He would fall asleep every day of the week, I reckon.
Oh,
But I take him to mini muscles on Tuesday and Thursdays.
Yeah.
So I try to wake him up or keep him awake. And he goes, I'm not going to sleep. And then his little eyes are shutting. And then he gets there and he does pretty well, given that he'd rather be asleep than awake.
Oh, that's good.
He got a certificate last week for being responsible.
Oh, very good. At school?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
And they get these things called ducky dollars. Ducky dollars, I think. And one day he said, I got it for listening and for looking and for thinking.
Oh, okay.
Went, okay then.
Very
That's
good.
good. Obviously, that's what the teacher does.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to be a teacher.
Especially these days, if you're having to integrate what stupid rules are being brought in. Yeah, it breaks my heart.
It's not an occupation that you can finish school at 3 o'clock and come back at 9.
Oh no, they work their tookuses off. Let's have a look at that affirmation for little flannel flower again. See where it's sitting at the moment. Actually, I'll scan through the paragraphs and see if there's anything else we need to. Yeah, right. And at the beginning, that's if I had my life to live over. I would start barefoot earlier in the spring, stay that way till later in the fall. I would go to more dances. I would ride more merry-go-rounds. I would pick more daisies. That's funny. Here's a paragraph about courses in business management and leadership incorporate games, as teachers have found that playing is the most effective way of learning. Sometimes playing these games is fun, but they also are very successful teaching aids. And I remember I was in the States about, 10, 15 years ago learning, something. And I was chatting to some people in California and they said that at lots of the public schools, way back then, besides reading, writing, arithmetic, there wasn't anything else. If you wanted anything else for the kids, it was private lessons.
Oh, okay.
And Sarah took Teddy to swimming lessons on Saturday.
Oh, lovely.
That's a
That's
start.
fun.
He did a practice the week before and he put his head under the water. He hates putting his head under water. He's quite terrified.
Oh, okay.
And he, it was his first week on Saturday morning at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Then he goes from there to mini muscles on Saturday
Oh,
morning.
okay. Yeah.
So while they're out,
Yeah.
and we camped at Lake at Wivenhoe Dam on Saturday night.
Oh, okay. Oh, lovely.
I was just thinking before, you know, if Mum was there, it was there as a spider as we were packing up on Sunday morning. This was a bitch of a spider. She was trying to get in underneath the tent, and she had a big white ball.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
so it must have been her little sack of babies attached to her. She did not want to get away from the tent.
I think of her in the mornings when you walk through Mitre 10. Just as you're coming into it, there's this great big spider web with the great big spiders in there. We just have a little laugh every time.
Loved her spiders. I don't think she'd be very keen on eating insects though. I think when we were in China, like 10, 15 years ago, they must have offered us insects to try at one stage, and certainly in Vietnam I remember being offered insects to eat.
Yeah.
But I would not want it to be a regular part of my meal, I don't think.
No, I don't think so either.
Happily bring play and joyfulness into my life. Happily bring play and joyfulness into my life. And home.
Would this have anything to do with it? The right side of my body at the moment is sore.
Yeah, right. So that's your masculine side. So it's the
Oh,
doing
yes,
side. It's
true,
the
yeah.
it's the doing side. It's the problem solving
Like
side.
my ankle, my knee, and all up here I can feel, and my arm, I'm thinking, oh, it's just a funny thing going through it.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and the hip, yeah. Never had that feeling before. Bad coming out.
Yeah, well, we might run
Fun
that.
on the other side.
Yeah. Well, more fun about being more carefree
Yeah.
and not feeling like you have to do all the
Yeah.
time. So when you're
This side's emotional and that,
Yeah.
isn't it?
emotional and caring
Caring.
and feminine,
Yeah.
this side's the masculine, the doing, the problem solving. Well, you do for your friends.
Oh, yes.
It's exactly what you were saying
Yeah.
before. You try to find solutions for them, and if something doesn't work, you find another way of doing it.
That's true. And that's bringing in the caring too, isn't it? Because you care for the person.
It's what a concept. Human beings are meant to care for each other. I've just sent the new frequencies to your email.
Oh, thank you.
double check the 5 element emotions. Beautiful. Amygdala. Nice and happy, and even the sadness we've sort of, that's picked up. 13 chakras. Beautiful. Okay. So, what's a fun thing that you haven't done in your world that you can imagine would be fun?
Can't think of anything at the moment.
Yeah.
I have to work on that.
Have to work on that. And hold up for me. Beautiful. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
See ya.